one that murdered that one, talking all that bullshit. I'ma put it to you like this, yo.
This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me. I bet you wish you was me, I know that I know.
What is poppin', everybody? And welcome back to another special episode of the Only Friends podcast, where, you know, it's me and my only friends, friends, which includes, but it's not limited to, my boy Sylvia. What's poppin', baby? How you feeling today?
What's up, man? By the way, I know what you were doing right there. Last time I came in, you were hungover, and I said you sounded subdued. So now that you're not hungover, you're trying to balance and still sound a little chiller about it.
No, he's just hungover.
Who said I wasn't hungover?
All right,
Bro busted the main. He's on a fucking bender.
Yo, that's hilarious
I'll see y'all later.
you used alcohol, whereas I used ice cream, but I'm lactose
strong.
intolerant, so we're both in pain today.
So you guys both shit yourself.
It's very good that you were riding solo today. Nobody's in the vicinity of your ass. Jessie, they called me fat yesterday. I almost dressed like Conrad today just to fucking prove a point. They were
Literally and figuratively flex on them.
I get shit on in the chat plenty, and I usually just ignore it. It doesn't bother me, but like they were just like hammering me with Berkey's fat.
You did look pretty fat yesterday.
It was just.
You literally went home and you're like, all right, I need to find a small t-shirt to put
That's
on
not true.
so we can just, you know.
I didn't change at all. I went out like that. I thought baby blue's my kind of color, you know? I thought I was looking good.
Definitely imagine Berkey at like 2 a.m. doing jump rope.
I'm not fat.
Ripping the...
You guys have no idea the drive and determination a negative comment can send you.
Yeah.
When did you exit the granddaddy of them all?
Basically day 2, but day 3 really. I bagged 8,000 in chips.
Oh, wow. How did that happen? There has to be a story.
Bro, I put my heart and soul into this tournament. Like I don't ever say that, but I was just I haven't played that many tournaments this year, and I was just so fired up for this one. And I can honestly tell you, I don't think I've ever won more big blinds bluffing in a 2-day stretch or won less pots at showdown in a 2-day stretch. And I was like really happy with my play, and then I had like 2 key pots where I don't think I played particularly well in them. And then I had a set versus a flush in one too, but and then I got moved to another table when I was like already downtrending on chips, and I just got 3 and 4 bet every single hand for the rest of the night. Like to the point where it was like I was down to 10 bigs, and there were like some pretty tight blinds, and I'm on the button, and I would open like something that I don't quite want to jam, like, you know, like Jack 6 suited or something.
Sure.
And the big blind would like tank and like look like he's gonna fold, and then grab like calling chips, and then just like stack up more chips and throw them in. I'm like, what?
Why are you doing this right now?
Yeah, and I just like couldn't find a spot to even like put the chips in the middle.
That's frustrating. How did you end up with 8K? Did you get crippled?
No, I literally
just blinded down to 4 bigs.
I had a hand like that, and then I think the blinds came around. Like I just literally had no hands that I could even jam, and then the blinds came around. I peeled like 2 cards versus an open.
Yeah.
The flops, like, you know, one of those flops that's like
fucking ace,
7,
deuce,
8,
3.
9 all clubs.
Yeah.
And I have like 5 deuce of hearts or whatever, and not even.
That sounds like a very uneventful way to die.
Yeah, it's kind of a miserable. I'm not really saying this all to complain. I'm just saying it all to be like, you know, that's one way you go.
Right.
For sure.
Right. I feel like I went the way that I often go.
Shooting?
Yeah, well, you know, I said this maybe before the summer started, and I kind of forgot about it, but it's very true. I don't bust tournaments off 10 bigs. Like that's, I mean, that is what ultimately happened in this one, but it's because I lost a 200 big blind pot.
Sure.
And that really does seem to be my motif when it comes to MTTs, like get all the chips and then play for all the chips and see what happens. But I was at a table where like there was no one who was interested in fighting for anything. And that can be both good and bad. Like it's terrible for your value, obviously, because you're just never getting paid.
But when you don't
Yeah, but
get
it's a
dealt
nice
those
low
hands-
variance way to print, right?
Yeah,
Like,
when-
yeah.
You would think. The problem was I kept getting really good fucking hands.
Oh, that's frustrating.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's like you keep getting really good hands, and suddenly they're not, folding the way you had hoped, and you're excited because it's like, well, I have really good hands, so I'm glad they're not folding finally. But you forget the little disconnect there that when they're not folding, it's because they've made 2-pair plus.
Yeah.
And I bled a little bit. I started the day with 200 bigs. I busted early in the second level. And like I just bled a bunch with like top pair, top kicker type of stuff. And then ultimately just get to a spot where a guy's playing his first tournament. He's actually Huey's friend. I guess he grew up with him in Carolina or went to ECU, whatever. He goes, this is my first tournament in 15 years. After he beat, it's always the guy who wins the 200 big blind flip that tells you his fucking life story after the fact while you're staring at your goddamn crumbs.
I gotta find out who this is.
So I thought he was like, he presented as a mid 30 something, likely grinder.
Okay.
So he opens button like 2.5x, maybe 3x, something like that. I look at queens in the big, and we're like 90 blinds effective. I'm like, okay, giddy up, 12 blinds. And he like 4-bets not all in to a size that just basically was all in. It was like, 60% of his chips.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I mean, it's the main, so it could be kings or aces.
It definitely could be. I've
But-
gone out that way with,
Right.
I think I had ace king suited one year, and the guy just put in like 50% of chips, and I was like, in any other tournament, this is an all in.
Yeah.
But-
yeah. And I was just like, wow, it could be aces or kings, but he put in like a weird number. It's probably just ace king. So I jam and he snaps. It's ace king, king high, and I'm left with like 12 bigs only to lose ace king to king queen. And I'm just like looking around going, what an opportunity lost. Like, I don't know what I could have done differently. I could have just like flatted out of the big, I guess, with queens and just check folded the king high board. But like, I'm just looking around. I'm like, who was going to fight me for pots? Like, all they had to do was deal me jack 9 suited in every position for the next 6 hours, and I probably have a $500,000 in chips.
It really does feel that way in that particular tournament.
Especially
like,
early. Especially like late day 1, early day 2.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not joking. I spent 2 days just not getting dealt cards, but like winning chips. It was like wild to...
Yeah, that was my day 1 experience. My first table was kind of a nightmare in like how tight and slow it was playing. And I bled a little bit, but then I was lucky enough to double. And from there, it was just like smooth sailing. Like literally just getting dealt the middle of the deck over and over and over again, being a little bit more aggressive than everybody else with it. And then I switched to a new table, and it was like a fun table. Nobody fighting. At the end of the night, I think I opened like 18 straight pots before finally the last hand of the night, this young kid at the table had like 45,000. Decided he didn't want to bag 45,000, and he chose that hand to go to war with me. Wow! And he got me to double him through a bluff.
Oh, man. I was kind of pulling for him.
I doubled him up.
Oh, okay. I thought
I
you won the
doubled
hand,
up to a
sorry.
bluff. No.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So like they just let me run rogue for hours. I end up getting up to like 190K, and then the very last hand that I opened queen jack off under the gun. It's literally like my 10th open in a row or something like that. Kid 3-bets under the gun 2, and he had been playing like a little snug, and we had just played a pot the hand prior where I had 8-4 suited and flopped a pair and turned a backdoor flush draw, and I went like bet over bet, and he mucked probably like a middle pair type hand. So I knew he was gonna get sticky, and he 3-bets me, and I peel the queen jack O, and it comes 10-7-6 rainbow, and my immediate thought was, if I check, I'm gonna have to check fold. So I'm not going to check.
Yeah.
And so I don't.
Why?
Oh, no.
I mean, it's not the right hand, but like, not
No,
the
I
worst.
just meant I know where the story's
Oh,
going.
yeah. No, you know exactly where the story's going. It's not the right hand, but it's not the worst board to do this on, I don't think. So I lead for quarter. He calls. Turn is an offsuit king. And I'm like thinking of what size I want to choose. And he starts talking to me. He goes, you're going to put a lot of pressure on, huh? End of the night bubble. You're going to try to really apply a lot of pressure to my stack, aren't you?
Wait, you're open-ended now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, well, I was gonna.
And now I don't know
So
what
then
to
I look
do.
at him, I go, I'm gonna bet, but don't worry, it's not gonna be too much. He's like, oh, okay. I'm like, fuck, I really can't go that big anymore. So I bet like 40%.
Wait, it would be so funny if you were like, I'm gonna bet, but it's not gonna be too much, and then you just like
All
put
in,
him in.
all in. Yeah, I think the SPR was like 3. So like I probably could have just went Geo here, but I ended up going 40%. He calls, and then the river pair's a 6, and he goes, that's a really good card for me. And I'm thinking, like, this kid's fucking sharp. Like, it is a good card for him. I can't really rep anything anymore. So I was just like, all right, I have to, like, target ace high type of hands that may be double floated, like ace jack or whatever. It's like he obviously doesn't have queens or jack. He doesn't have a very good hand here, so I just have to kind of, like, go after it. So I bet 40% again. And he just looked at me and goes, not today, boys. Call. And he has ace 9.
Wow.
Ace
Not today,
nine.
boys.
Yeah. I was like,
He had enough.
he deserved it. He earned that pot. But like, you know, that was the most poker I had to play
Yeah.
over 2 days.
So I had a few spots like that where I could tell somebody's like sick of me,
Yeah.
but I just kept ramping up the bets. I had one hand. So this is why it's so funny. I went out on like 3 blinds because I had one hand, for instance, where I open under the gun, the big blind calls, the flop's like, and it's the hand before break, and I could tell he's like sick of me. I've been 3-betting him a lot and stuff, and the flop is like 5, 7, 3, 2 clubs, and I have ace 10 with the ace clubs. And I bet, and he calls, and the turn's like a queen. And I'm like, he's just going to be the biggest non-believer on this queen. Like, it's just like the card I bet.
Yeah.
I was like, but I could bet 2x pot. So I was
like
just
that.
doing stuff like that.
That's
you know?
where my mind goes too.
Yeah, so, like,
they're not
it
going
is
to believe me.
weird.
Well, then I guess we're just going to have to do all of it.
Yeah, and then I go on dinner break, and I was having dinner with Vanessa, who's in town, and she's like, you don't have any value when you do that. You realize that? I was like, yeah, but like, I'm not doing it against you.
Right. Right. Precisely.
And it's not to take anything away from that guy. It's just like more of it's more of like, well,
Yeah, it's definitely against that guy.
Yeah,
Don't walk that one back.
yeah, you're right.
for sure.
Don't walk that one back.
Yeah, I guess it's more like I guess part of it is like she's aware of what I'm capable of a little bit more. So like, and she knows. But I was like, against you, I just bet my normal like 1.25 x pot or whatever it is, and I'd be like a little bit more balanced because I'm afraid that you're gonna like look into it more or whatever. But like in the main against somebody I don't know, it's just like the bigger you go, the more they want to fold.
So here's an interesting question from one of our viewers. Poker Vault says, I'm coming back to day 4 with 6 big blinds and 7 away from the money in the main. Are we actually only 7 out?
No,
I thought there were 20 out.
They're 20 out, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, if they're only 7 out, this question has some validity. If they're 20 out, I don't think this is the case. But he says, do I fold aces or kings pre?
No.
Negative.
I think you could fold kings.
I mean, if like,
Depending on... I don't think they're going to play more than 10 hands, personally.
I disagree.
I mean, so you
20 people?
you for sure
20
don't
people
shove.
goes fast.
I mean, you for sure don't like not shove.
Right, if folded to, you're saying. That's different. I
would be
think the
hard to
question is
fold,
like,
man.
if somebody opens, what do you do with kings?
Yeah, I do think this
They're
is
7
the type
out,
of.
guys. Sorry.
They are 7
they
away
are
from the money.
7 out.
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, you're a lock to make the money basically.
Yeah.
7 bigs, unless you like post the big and things go really poorly.
Yeah, it'd be really
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Where you're at in position will matter a lot as well. To Jesse's
He
point.
should write a note to everyone on the table like that other guy.
Bro, do you remember this story, Jesse?
What?
Last year on
I,
the bubble?
I forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
He begged his table mates to give him a walk, and they fucking did. Incredible. He said he starts in the big blind.
Ooh.
Oy.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, I
get
mean,
dealt aces first hand, and you honestly don't have to worry about anything.
I mean, I'd probably not fold kings, but like
If cashing is that important, I could see kings being pretty close to 0 EV off that stack.
Yeah, I was gonna say like if this is like the higher end of your buy-ins too, like
Or you sat in.
yeah, like I don't mind folding. Like I'm not gonna hate on it or anything. I think it's probably like technically incorrect. But
Right.
if you're ever gonna pick a tournament where it's closer to correct or maybe even correct, I don't know. This would be it because you just have so many getting paid.
Poker
and you're
Vault,
so
I'll
far
tell
from
you
the page
exactly what you should do. We've discussed this ad nauseum, and it's worth it. Okay,
say you have aces and
Oh yeah.
Table your hand.
Yep.
Shove and table. If somebody opens,
yeah, that actually works.
if somebody opens, rejam, table your hand. They'll fold, because they don't want to just give you free chips, and then they're going to give you a 1-round penalty. But during that round, you'll make the money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in a satellite, that's happening. So we were talking about satellite strategy for these milestones.
Yeah.
And how, like, in theory, so let's say you're in a milestone where you start with 10K and 150 gets you out for the seat. For those at home that don't know the milestones, it's like a satellite, but you hit a certain number of chips and you just get your seat. And we're talking about Mikey D had a spot the other day where he had like 143 or something, and he needs to win the blinds. But like everyone at the table is aware of that, so in theory, if he just opens, they can just rip like nearly everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, what you're supposed to do probably is you're supposed to just shove a really, really tight range. Because if you had aces, there's no value in raising and inducing, so you're supposed to shove.
Yeah.
So any hand that like plays is probably supposed to shove, but that sucks because you're risking so many chips. I was like, what you do is like you literally like shove aces and you say you have aces and you show everyone. I was like, but if you don't have aces, probably just say you have aces.
Right. Yeah, like no matter what. They want to point out that we said that you'll get a 1-round penalty. So everybody in the chat's like saying this is against the rules or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're going to get a round penalty, but you paid for it. You paid for it. You're going to make the money during that 1 round. Enjoy. Honestly, that round is going to take an hour and a half. Enjoy your nap.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic. It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best round you've ever missed in your entire life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Best nap you're ever going to have in your life. Speaking of tabling your hand prematurely, did you hear about this guy last night who fucking angled going into dinner break?
Yeah, that was absurd. I saw that on Twitter.
Insane.
Yeah.
So to give you guys the backstory, if you want to cut to the actual tweet prior to the Poker News article, there was a player who I guess didn't speak very much English, and he opened the button the last hand before dinner break. The big blind, who is this man, everybody put him on blast, tables Jack Deuce offsuit in the big blind, signifying a fold. To anybody who's ever played this game, clearly he's folding. So the button then mucks his hand and goes to collect the pot. The big blind turns his hand back over, demands to have a floor because he's the only one with a live hand remaining. Floor comes over, somehow rules in his favor, which is crazy because I feel like the button's hand was probably retrievable.
Well, not only that, but the floor has the power to do things the right way,
Correct.
even if it goes against the technical rules. And like,
for sure,
it seems like the easiest spot of all time. I had some issues with the floor on the bubble last year. I'm not going to lie.
When you say the right way, Jesse, are you saying they have discretion to maybe go against whatever the written rule is?
Yes,
because like
that is a more eloquent and accurate way to put it.
The written rule isn't really like you can't really like
it's
decipher it.
Well,
like,
the written rule is meant to protect people from what happened in the Artur Daniel situation earlier this summer, where Daniel limps, Artur raises, not seeing the limp, folds back to Daniel, who prior to taking action, Artur had already mucked his hand. So now Daniel, is awarded the equivalent of Artur's call, and that's all meant to protect like these types of errors. But it's certainly not meant to be gamed, where you start working an angle by getting somebody to forcibly fold so that you can now claim the only live hand and collect the pot.
Not for nothing, we've seen a lot of shitty floor rulings. Like, with like a few different things this year.
Bro, there is a very wide spectrum in the skill set of different floormen and floor women, but floor people at the World Series of Poker. There are some very good floors, and I've interacted with some like pretty bad floor people.
Yeah, and like the worst part about the bad floor people think they're the best.
Yeah,
and they're super cunts about what their ruling is. They think that they're fucking
they
like
rule with an iron
overshadow.
fist.
Like I want to drop kick you in your throat. You're wrong. But
we had a thing with the floor last year where we actually cashed on day 4, but like day 3 we're 20 out or whatever, and everyone's stalling like at all the tables around us, and our table's stalling, and this girl at the table who has like all the chips and wants to mash the bubble, which is fair, calls the floor, and she's like, they're playing too slow, and so he's just like, yeah, you all have 30 seconds. So we assumed it was like 30 seconds pre-flop, and then so Tony, I don't want to say his last name wrong, but Tony
Sintaj, yeah.
Gets into a pot with someone where they like put him in on the river, make a huge bet in the river. And Tony's like the one guy at the table who, besides her, who's like playing very quickly. Yeah. He also has chips and he's just like doing his thing. He gets put in this river spot and the floor just gives him 30 seconds. And like, he's livid. He's like, bro, like I haven't violated anything so far. Like this is unreasonable. And the guy's just like you said, just so confident about like how he's doing this. And there's no other table on a clock around us, but they're all like stalling.
Did someone call clock on him?
No, the floor just was like, you guys all have 30 seconds from now on.
They were probably just standing around because
they just stood there. And like we finally called like another floor. I'm like, can we just like file a complaint on this guy? Because he like, I mean, like not only does he has like no discretion with this sort of stuff, but like if they had clocked me, like I was taking my sweet time. Right?
Yeah,
I had
that'd
like
be fine.
20 blinds. Like I would have got it, you know?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Did the rest of the table stick up for Tony in this situation?
Almost everyone did. Yeah, we were all like, this is pretty ridiculous.
And that's like the biggest bullshit because like it's obvious, like if everybody else at the table is just like, hey man, he should have time here. He's not taking up time at X, Y, and Z. He's playing pretty fast. Like
that's when
this isn't the fucking guy who should be doing this.
I feel like when people plead with the floor, it makes them rule even more tough.
They hate you more.
Right, like Thomas, who won the
Thomas Zanat.
Yeah, who won the Paigal Progressive.
Who did that tweet, by the
King.
way? That was his tweet about the angle shooter.
Correct, yeah. So he stood up for the button who didn't speak English.
Yeah.
And he was pushing back with the floor saying like it was blatantly obvious. I'm at the table. Like I saw what happened. He meant to fold. He exposed his cards. Where's his penalty kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Instead, he's angling and just scooping 4.5 blinds. Tom gets a penalty.
Yeah, that's insane.
He gets a 1-round penalty that he has to serve after dinner break, which is fucking crazy.
I mean, that floor guy shouldn't be a floor person.
I would have went straight to Jack. Right. I would have found Jack. And like, listen, Jack, I don't know you, but let me tell you something right now. This man is out of his fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like, I would have lost my shit.
Yeah.
Because, like, honestly, like, especially when you're sticking up for another human where you know that the other humans in the, like, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is an absolute joke.
Right, and like most of the rest of the table probably left. The dealer, who knows how competent they are, if they even speak English themselves. Like, there's a lot of disconnect where the floor has to rely on some sort of honest broker as a messenger.
Yeah.
And it can't always just be the dealer. Yeah. So like when there are fellow professionals at the table who are willing to kind of just like be objective and say like, look, this is what happened. You're not getting the full story, or you're clearly ruling in favor of somebody gaming the rules that are in place. Yep. You have to set your ego aside and be like, okay, we're not going to go letter of the law here. You're an asshole for doing what you're doing. I'm not going to reward you with a 4.5 big blind pot. Yeah. That would be insane. And you get a penalty for exposing your cards and wasting everybody's time.
You know what the good floors do? The good floors look at the people at the table. They're like, oh, I see this person all the time. I see this person all the time. Let me see what they thought about the situation.
Right.
I would actually
in a sense. And like people, it's like, because they respect people. Floors respect people.
Yeah, but I don't know how I feel about that, because like often like I feel like I'll get like a little bit more like
leniency.
Yeah, because like I've been there for so long, they expect me like, but that's like not a great precedent.
It's not great, but at the same time, we have dealers that don't know exactly what's going on. They don't really know the law of the game.
That's true, yeah.
So like when it comes down to it, you need to rely on somebody. You can't just come over with like this letter of the law and just say, hey, like this is what's going on. It's like, no, like shit happens. This is like, I don't know. We're moving in real time. Like people do things. People are fucking scum.
I think the big thing too is that like they trust that the dealer will be that arbiter, so to speak. Yeah. And in most situations, they're just not capable of it.
It's unfortunate. They don't even get the situation correct half the time.
Right.
And it's like, come on, man. Like
I've had situations on bubbles where like people are genuinely stalling a minute plus pre every single hand, and when I call the floor over, they'll ask the dealer if they had enough time. The dealer will just look at them with like dead eyes and go, no.
By the way, like I don't think I'm a little harsh on this floor person, but like I don't think that they shouldn't be a floor person because of the initial ruling. Like I don't agree with the ruling.
Right.
But like, you know, you stuck to the actual rules, so fair enough. But giving Thomas, unless Thomas is like swearing, is
I'm sorry he was flipping. I know Thomas. I'm sure he lost his shit. Probably.
Okay, yeah, maybe,
I
maybe
can
it's
see
fair
him. I
enough
can
then.
see him getting very upset protecting this man.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, it's not even like if it was about him, whatever. But protecting this guy in this situation, like against some type of scumbag ruling or whatever, I could see him losing his shit. And he probably still doesn't deserve a penalty for it because
Probably
you know
not.
what? Somebody else is like the floor is just being an asshole when it comes down to it. Sounds like.
Yeah, I guess I could see a world where the guy's like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just gonna stick to the letter of the law, which is like fair.
Yeah.
And then Thomas is just like swearing his brains out. The guy's like, you're getting a penalty, which is like also fair. So maybe I could see like a world. It just feels bad when this kind of stuff happens.
It's like, you know, somehow a rookie ump gets through the system and starts calling balls and strikes.
Great analogy, because there's been a lot of heat on the umpires lately and how piss poor they are.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, no umpire is happy with the advancement of technology in baseball.
Yeah.
Like this little strike zone that they put up, strike cast or whatever, on
my
every
God.
fucking broadcast.
They're all getting revealed. It's crazy.
And like, you know, now there are like you know, sites and things that are tracking the accuracy of umpires, not just game over game, but season over season. It's like, oh, Angel Hernandez, you have a 75% accuracy, you suck.
Hold on. Efro says, last level we had a player call a clock on a lady after 5 minutes. The dealer said no and had no idea what was going on. She was yelling. It had only been 30 seconds. Players had to step in. I told the floor I actively wanted her to play slow, but yes, it's been 3+ minutes. It's just like nobody, like dealers really just don't pay attention to like what's going on. And then, you know what? They're just not, they haven't been around the game long enough.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like not anyone's fault. Like, you know, they need to hire a lot of people. They're going to get some like fresh new dealers.
Yep.
There's going to be some issues. And
I do put fault in a place though.
what's that?
I do put fault in a place. The dealers are fine. Dealers are whatever. We're going to help them. We're going to get through things.
Yeah.
But the floor needs to be better.
Yeah, the
floor needs to be better, and there maybe if there has a supervisor, I don't know what the case may be, but some people just can't be given the freedom to make some of these rulings.
They're definitely, you're right. We need slightly better flooring. That's for sure.
I don't know how, like, what could be the next step to get that, but
well, you got to bring like the bottom like 10 to 20% of floor people up. Right, because the top end's pretty damn good.
The top is the best. Listen, I love a lot of the floor people. Love them, absolutely. And like whatever they say, sure, whatever. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of there's just really bad rulings, and it's kind of unfair. It's sad and unfair.
Going back to the umpire analogy, like everything outside of balls and strikes, they're allowed to confer, right? So if it's like, and this is pre-replay, they don't really need to do it anymore because of replay. But like, you know, if it's an out call or everything outside of balls and strikes, so check swings, even check swings, they can defer to the side that it was checked on, right?
Yeah,
so,
they have like a camera straight down the line, right? So they
no, talk to the umpire.
They'll defer to the other umpire.
Oh, okay.
So like, if it's a right-handed batter, they'll defer to the first base umpire. Left-handed batter, they'll defer to the third base umpire. So point is like they have a chance to like confer amongst each other and get it right. No, they're not always going to get it right, but at least you're getting a second opinion of somebody else who may have saw it differently. I think being able to be humble enough to say, okay, I heard this situation and this is what I'm going to rule, and then have Thomas kind of like speak up and be like, you're out of your fucking mind. Instead of like escalating it, just de-escalate and say, okay, give me a moment. I'm going to confer with another one of my floor people, and we'll come back and we'll make a final ruling. Now the problem,
I'm going to tell you the problem with that is, I'm sorry, I had to cut you off. The problem with that is people don't want to rule against their fellow floors, dude. It's so sick because like there's so many times where like something like that may happen, like the situation just gets a little loud. Somebody else walks over, they talk about it for a second, and they're like, "I'm going with his ruling."
Yeah.
And it's like,
I do agree with that.
Come on.
And it's the same thing with the dealers. Like they don't want to rule against the dealers either. Like
that's their people,
right?
And that's usually
just all gets supported.
Honestly, you see that a lot in like normal, like outside the series, like cash games or whatever around town, because like, you know, dealers are actually decent probably, like during whatever, outside the series. So like you see a lot of whatever the dealer says they stick with.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's the issue is that like you're creating a system that's already broken, right? Like now one person's incompetence just gets pushed up to the top.
See, this is why I respect Bob.
Bob's the best.
Bob doesn't
Bob
have
doesn't
people.
give a
Bob
fuck.
goes rogue, man. He's like, that was a dog shit ruling.
Yeah. Bob truly does not give a fuck.
And Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie too.
Well,
Charlie's the one that
the bald
generally.
That's Bob.
No,
they're
Pitbull.
both Bob.
Oh,
Sorry, they're both bald.
Okay.
You know the one that's ready to kick somebody out real quick?
Yeah, he's great.
It's great. The first time I met him, we had a full-out fight on day 3 of the main, where this lady thought I was smoking in my chair because I was like this. And she had walked by, and I'm friendly with everybody. That works, whatever. So I thought she was just saying hi, and I just started like this, blah, blah, blah. And basically, she went and got Charlie, and Charlie's like, come talk to me. I'm like, no. He's like, come talk to me. I'm like, no. He's like, I'm going to give you a penalty. I was like, what the fuck did I do? So I walk over there. He's like, are you vaping in your seat? I'm like, no.
Oh.
He's like,
Were you though?
No, I wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, so I lost my shit. I was not happy about this because I was doing nothing. But yeah, the lady had said some things that were just incorrect, and I was whatever. I
like how they like are on top of you vaping in your seat, but as soon as you go into the hallway, you're just in a cloud. I watched this poor like 55-year-old like small lady walking through the hallway, and I just kept watching her like try to bat vape smoke out of the way as we're walking through Paris.
Number one, you should have claimed racism immediately. I mean, just like, is this because I'm black? That would have been the first words out of my mouth. Number two, the irony is, while that was happening, myself, Chance, Jason Kuhn, and a bunch of others were on the side feature. And Chance, every 5 minutes, is literally vaping on air.
It was so wild.
It was so obvious. Like, he would get up away from the table and like kind of turn his back to it, but like it's impossible to miss, you know, and then this mist of whatever just appears. And it's like, that is insane to just like get caught in 4K and nobody says a word, but like Conrad's just black and smells a little, and they're just like, oh, he must be smoking.
I was fucking losing it. I've never been like more upset in my life, I think.
It was the middle of day 4, and he just disappeared for an hour.
I just left.
He gave himself his own penalty.
Wow.
He just left for an hour.
That was probably a smart leave, by the way. Yeah.
I was fucking livid.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, I didn't do anything, and I do plenty of things, right? So, like, when I do something, I don't mind owning up to it. Like, it's all right. Like, whatever, I fucked up. Yeah, sure. You want me to go my penalty? You want me to do this? Whatever the case may be. When I don't do nothing, please leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's so wild, man.
It's insanity.
Getting to the moving day aspect of this, we kind of already covered it a little bit with the bubble, but they're 7 out. This is huge morale.
Let's go
for the bets.
For the team.
Let's go.
This is a big swing.
It's huge for me. I figured I make somewhere between like $4 and $6 for every dollar that Landon cashes for at this point. It's it's a really big swing because I have so much side action.
Oh, you have more than one X inside action, huh?
Oh yeah, way more.
Okay.
I have a full 100% also additionally. Additionally with somebody else where I'm getting laid 10%.
Oh wow.
So I have 100% crossbook on Becker where he's laying 110 on Landon.
Mm-hmm.
So a day 6 here is just so big. I mean, if he can do it.
Yeah.
If 10 more levels, Landon Tice is still in the field. Berkey got a good summer.
Let's go. You know,
a real good summer.
To be honest with you, you could have went monkey shit yesterday.
You should have heard him on the ride home. I guess there was this Spanish kid at his table that just like
ravaged.
Did not kill. I don't even know that he ravaged from the hands I was hearing. It sounded like he lost a bunch. He like had a medium to large-ish stack, but was like covered in many spots. And just did not give a fuck. He played a hand where he raised, and I can't remember who the kid was, but he's like a cash pro. Had him way covered, like 1.2, 1.3 million, something like that. Yeah, Hannah, that's right. I think it's Andrew Hannah.
Yep.
The 3 bets, kid calls. It comes like Jack 9X, 2 hearts. Hannah has King 10 of hearts. He c-bets. This guy just rips. And he goes, I mean, I have to call. Calls with the combo draw. So it's like Jack 9X, 2 hearts. He has King 10 of hearts. The other guy, King Queen of spades. holds.
Oh, yeah.
Queen plays, wins with king high for like 120 big blind pot. just madness, right?
Oh my God.
So then Landon's like texting me. He's like, I'm doing this for you. I can't believe it. I'm passing on every spot. Like he's V-pipping 100% from every.
I just want to click every fucking hand. I just want to click 3-bet, 4-bet. He's fucking 3-bet opening deck. He's opening and 3-betting deck. I just want to click every hand. It was fucking hilarious.
I guess Ohei Cindy was at the table and had like 25 bigs, 20 bigs, something like that, and just was ravaging because he doesn't care about bubbling and he cares about accumulating in a spot where somebody's literally giving it away.
Yeah.
So he was just like 4-bet ripping like any ace, just any way that he could to put chips in the middle of the pot. He was the one who was like benefiting, and Landon's sitting there on his hands. And finally, after he had like completely vented the whole drive home, I look at him and I go, I wouldn't have folded any good hands in your spot, man. Like if we lose some extra money, like we lose some extra money. He goes, I didn't fold any good hands. I wouldn't have done anything anyway. I respect the game too much.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about how if I was Landon, I would absolutely send you a text saying that I bubbled 3 off the money.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's too unbelievable. It's so
it really
impossible.
is.
Like there's 7 out of the money. It's so impossible for him to find a way to get 40 bigs in.
I'd just be like, bro, what do you want me to do? I had jacks.
I mean, if he said that last night, you would have so believed him.
Yeah.
Last night at the end of the night, the last hand, he could be like, I just fucking busted.
Yeah, for sure.
This fucking monkey open. I had kings.
For sure. But yeah, JBEX camp has to be down bad. I mean, there's 7 out of the money. Landon has 40 bigs. It's literally as close to 100% as possible that he'll bag. Not bag, cash.
Yeah.
So I would imagine the bubble burst. I can't believe they didn't just play it out last night. I guess it's slow.
I'm
The
telling
hand
you.
for hand is so slow.
It's
Yeah,
not
you could
gonna
be
be
there
that
for another
quick.
hour and a half or
Yes,
whatever.
it'll be sub 15 hands.
Well, you keep
And we
going
had a
up.
late night the night before. If
Right.
he was in day 1D, I don't know.
Yeah, because
but-
of the
or 2D.
delay.
Yeah, so it was like, I think not giving them another late night is probably smart.
I think you're right. I just know how bad it sucks for those 7 people, or at least 6. The Bubble Boy's going to get his main event seat next year or whatever. But man, 6 people are going to be really fucking unhappy.
Play resumes.
Or
at
he'll
noon,
chop
is that
it up.
correct? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
The year I got second in the main, 4 guys chopped up the seat that Bubble Boy seat.
I thought they just flipped for it.
I don't know how they
That
actually
was like
chopped
way
it.
back in 2012.
Yeah, I don't know how
guess.
they actually chopped up. Maybe they did like a sit and go for it or something. But
So what they've done in more recent years, anyways, they just like run a cold hand.
okay, fair enough.
And one of the X amount of people, get it.
Bro, one of those 4 guys lost aces versus ace king, and a room of like 1,000 people just cheered for that king X flop, and I was just like, this poor bastard.
Wait,
I hate
that
to
was
see it.
what's his name? Fuck, Kevin Campbell, right?
I don't know who it was.
He got done dirty.
That sounds right for some reason.
It was
but I don't know why
actually.
I remember.
I want to say it was actually the year we went deep. It was 4 years ago. where he
No,
got-
this is 2012.
Oh yeah, he got fucked aces versus ace king. I think it was.
Bro, I was cashing this tournament back when you were a teenager.
That's right.
probably.
I didn't even play poker when you were cashing this
I'm an
tournament.
old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
do?
friend.
I had never played a tournament yet, and you were cashing this.
Was
bird.
your first
Wow.
cash your second place?
Yeah, that was the second time I played it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that does sound about
God,
right.
Jesus Christ. Is
my
there
fir-
anything you don't fucking get just immediately? Look at you. Look at you. You're just a lucksack. I guess they robbed you on the height.
Yeah.
that's
That's
true,
where
that's
they
true.
clipped you short.
There was a time before my main event run where I was like, if I just ran like God in a bunch of spots and everyone was like, this fucking guy runs like God, I was like, I'd be okay with being that guy.
Yeah.
And at some point I became that guy and I was like, this was pretty good.
This was great.
Like oh my God, you have no idea. I have other spots where like one time, this is one of my favorite stories. Mikey D is like my best friend in poker. One of my best friends in poker. Shout out to the other best friends. And he's at the time he's not doing so well in poker or like financially.
Oh, I remember this story.
Do you? I walk in the Bellagio. He's been grinding all weekend. It's like a 3-day weekend. The games are great. He's just losing his ass. And I walk into Bellagio and I sit down and I post the straddle at 10-20-40. I have like 5K or 6K or whatever. And it goes raise on the button, 3-bet. I cold 4 ace jack offsuit. The raiser calls. The flop is it's like 4-4-6 rainbow, we'll say. I bet, call. Turns like a 3 with a diamond, and I have like a diamond, so I decide to barrel. Call. The river's a king, and this is like back in the day. We didn't have like solvers, but I'm like thinking, if I don't bluff with this one, maybe I don't have that many bluffs, so I just like rip it. Guy tanks like 20 seconds, calls. I table my hand because I just always table my hand instead of like being like, you got it.
Hand.
He mucks. Mike doesn't say a word. He just looks at the situation, racks his chips up, and just leaves the casino. It's like the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then I text him and I'm like, did I just cause you to quit poker? And he goes, no, I'm not done with the game, but that was pretty hard to stomach.
That is so good.
I'm not done with the game, but I'm done with you.
I'm not your friend anymore. I can't believe that just happened.
And that was the birth of him talking about how I would stroll, as he would say, I would stroll ass backwards into the best game he's ever seen. Like the once every 3 months I'd show up to the Bellagio.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time I hadn't played for a few months and I showed up and like I sit down, the game's, Mike's like, what are you doing? Like game's terrible. It's like, I haven't played poker. I just want to play poker. Playing like 10, 20, 40. It's like four-handed with like some euros. And Nelly shows up and sits down like 8 minutes later, and Mike's just livid.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Nelly's the spot.
Nah, he's in
Nelly's
though.
actually, yeah, he's decent at poker. He ran so bad, and it was his birthday. I felt pretty bad that day.
Oh, you felt bad for Nelly running bad?
Yeah, I mean, not really.
It's his birthday.
I mean, like for his immediate emotional state, like he'll be all right.
Sir Country Grammar.
Yeah, but yeah, he looked, and then as he's getting up, he goes, this guy in the game who's like actually pretty friendly with Nelly is like, I think he like texts him when he's in town or whatever. He was like, happy birthday, man. And Barry Hutter just doesn't know that they're like friendly, so he just thinks he said happy birthday after he like got stacked for like the third time and just starts laughing. And Nelly just stands up. He's like, oh, you want to fucking go, bro? He's like, we can play heads up right now, 50K. Like, let's do it. Like, he gets all upset. And Barry just doesn't know what to say. He's just like, what? No, I was laughing about, like, blah, blah, blah. And he, like, Nelly just, like, leaves, you know?
No, you're like, yes.
And I was like, oh, you should have said yes, yeah. I'd have been like, yeah, man, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Stop the count. Let's play heads up now, please.
You gotta cash
so
in on
good.
that one for sure. That's too good.
How many cards do you want? What do you want to play?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh man,
Have you played with him, Matt?
I have. I got a text from Ben Lamb one day in like 2011. He goes, "Nelly's here, get down." And I'm like, "All right." Came down. We played shorthanded. I fucked him good with I think I had 6-8 suited. Flopped a straight versus his top set of sevens, and he was never to be seen or heard from again.
Wow. I
Au
retired
revoir,
Mike
Nelly.
Delvecchio. You retired Nelly.
That's right.
We are not the same.
We're not the same. We'll see you later, Nelly. Tell me how Nellyville's going. So it looks like there's about 1,500 left in this main. A lot of hope. A lot of heroes out in the crowd. Somehow Francis Anderson just fucking does it.
Francis can do it, man.
Francis does
He's a
it.
main event player.
He does it.
That's a main event player
He's a
right
big
there.
field navigator.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
man.
Just smashes the fucking 400 down bad Giga Turbo whatever for his first bracelet a few days ago.
He got like fourth in the Millimeter, or was Millimeter Colossus?
Or Monster, one of the two.
Monster.
Yeah.
It was a Monster stack.
It was one of the big 1500s.
Yeah, it was
a couple years
it was
ago.
definitely Monster
So the
stack.
bracelet he won, I'm pretty positive, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it was the 1K Turbo that they ran coinciding with 1D of the main, where you can max late reg until like
800,
2
yep.
a.m.
Oh, yeah.
No, it wasn't the 1K Turbo. It was the 800. Oh, it was the 1K Turbo?
Wait, what's this
No.
Francisco Perez Moreno?
No, it was the 800 he won.
Oh, that's not him.
Oh, this is the main. Okay.
Francis is 7.
Wow, Livingston. Sorry to...
No, yeah, there are a lot of heroes in the field for sure.
A lot of heroes.
Ren Lin?
Look at fucking
Ren
Lady
Ren
Gaga,
Lin.
Come
baby.
on.
Honestly, it would be the best thing for poker.
No,
Is Luis
I'm
Velazquez
so
that guy
over this.
who final tabled like a few years back? I think that is.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Wow, Will the Thrill. Will
Like,
the Will the Trill.
Guys, could you imagine a final table of Isaac Kempton, Nacho
Nacho's
Barbero,
in there. What a scum.
fucking Will
scum.
Fiala? Come
Yo,
on.
I would just like to
Ren
watch
Lin?
Nacho and Will play at any table together. Just that table talk.
A lot of people interested in Ian O'Hara's stack. They're sweating that one
Oh
closely.
wow,
I'm
that's
sure.
absurd. Not Will. Why you do this? Why you play that?
What the fuck you want from me?
Yeah, that's the only way you could play it, bro. Oh my God.
I want to get Will on here so bad.
Yeah, he'd be a good one.
He would.
Matt
Come on.
Affleck trying to what is this? The 12-year anniversary? No, the 14-year anniversary.
I feel
Oh
so
my
bad.
God.
The only every time Matt Affleck's name gets brought up, I just think of him crying.
He forever
Like the lip quiver and like
it
I felt so bad for him.
it was a monumental poker moment in history, and like it sucks to be the person who lived it.
Absolute infamy.
And honestly, like he handled it really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually respected.
Yeah, he was
the
super
shit out of
classy
him for
about it
that.
after the fact. But it is etched in World Series history forever.
Yeah.
And honestly, like Affleck is forever going to be one of those like great players that kind of like just missed being like a larger than life character in this game, right? Like he's just forever going to be that guy that was right on the cusp and kept getting injured.
But
kind of
if
thing,
he ever final tables the main, they're gonna run that clip like 1,000 times, and it's gonna be the biggest story ever.
I don't
like
think people remember.
redeemed-
He made a super deep run the year prior.
Yeah,
also.
he did.
So
And
it's
I think he like bluffed it off or something,
I
and this
think
was
you're right.
supposed to be like, oh, he's about to like redeem himself, and then he just gets screwed.
Yeah. Just I mean, what a fucking pot! Like, honestly, how could you not feel that way? This
Yeah.
guy just robbed you. 15 left.
By the way, that was Joey Chung's year they final tabled,
Yeah.
and he lost that huge pot to Candio, and it was like the
The
craziest
aces
butterfly.
versus versus 5-7 suited.
Dude, it was the craziest butterfly effect because instead of Joe just mashing the bubble,
Yeah.
Duhamel mashed the final table bubble instead, and then Duhamel just wins the tournament.
Right.
I mean, also, Joe could have not 5-bet jammed the A7, but
Right.
we all have our moments in the.
You know,
Actually,
he thought the guy was too tight.
so there's a side story that I don't know if maybe Joe should tell it, but basically like Joe jammed because Duhamel clicked it so small he thought it was a bluff.
Yeah.
And he told me after the tournament, he was talking to Duhamel, and he was like, that was a really nice sizing. Like, I literally jammed because you had been sizing bigger with everything before that. And, like, I just thought you were bluffing based on that. And Duhamel just looks at him and goes, bro, I meant to make it bigger.
Of course it's a misclick.
How sick is that?
Of course it's a
I meant to
misclick.
what?
I meant to go bigger, and I just put in the wrong number of chips. Like, how sick is that? That misclick just won him the main event.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, that was the year I went in deep too. I also got Duhameled.
You humbled.
Yeah. Candio finished me off in my last half big blind.
Oh, you got Candio and Duhamel?
Well, Duhamel crippled me. He left me with a half a big blind, and I was in the small blind the next hand.
Did
So
Candio sing as well when he busted you?
he was something else. I'm sad he didn't turn into a real character in this world.
It's true. You know that made Joey the baby like super famous in Italy.
Really?
He told me every time he goes to Italy, like old ladies are like, "Oh, from the video." Like that's like the most
That's
watched video in
incredible.
Italy of all
Yeah.
time, or like Italian YouTube or something like that. Like
That
he's like,
summer or that event was the first time I ever got to play against Joey, and very quickly I knew that like he was one of us.
yeah,
Like we both just had mounds of chips on like day 5 playing together. Like, pre-color up, we probably had like 1K chips still at that point, but like just infinite volume of chips in front of both of us, and we're just battling at every single hand. Neither one of us seems to know or care about ICM or making it deeper or staying out of each other's way.
Yeah.
It was just abundantly clear like a collision was going to occur. Luckily somehow we faded each other.
I was gonna say you guys didn't collide. That's
Yeah, it was
impressive.
wild. We didn't really play too many big pots against each other.
Wow.
Candio wore the same fucking shirt 9 days in a row.
Yeah,
Just
lucky
remarkable
shirt.
stuff. Yeah. Good times. Hopefully this main event becomes just as memorable. Hopefully I find myself sweating the final table in person because one Landon Tice does what we need him to do. Another legend out in the field there yesterday was one Jason Somerville. He got a quick interview in with Platt. Good to hear from the man from the Dirty Basement Kids himself. You want to run that
OG.
one real quick?
Okay, so I'm listening to the Poker Go podcast. Great work with Tim Duckworth and Donnie Peters. Donnie Peters has a special guest, and that guest says, I'm going to lurk, I'm going to hide until about day 3 or day 4 of the main event, and then Jeff Platt's going to come and find me. Well, it's day 3 of the main event, and I found him. He found me. Jason Somerville, stand up for me, please. One of the
Price is Right. Amazing, Jeff Platt. Wow.
one of the absolute superstars in the poker world. We don't see it too often, but it does appear like it's another fantastic main event run for Jay Carver.
I'm a main event specialist, okay? I play WSOP main, WPT main, and I always cash. Top 100, no. But I get like 180th, 430th. That's what I do.
You work your way into it every time. It's a question I ask you every year, but I just know that the people want to know.
Yeah.
What's Jason Somerville up to nowadays?
What do I do? I'm on the periphery of poker. I watch you all the time.
Love that.
Yeah, you love that, right? Yeah, of course.
Not about me, but do love that.
You do a great job. I told this to Donnie yesterday also. You guys do a great job.
Great job.
I mean, Poker Go, you guys are doing great things. So I'm still a poker fan. I was a poker fan. I'm still a poker fan. I still play. I played Sundays, I play occasionally. But yeah, I don't know. I flirt with poker. Poker flirts with me. I don't know. Will we get together? It's the big question.
Did you flirt with a PLO tournament a little bit earlier this summer?
Yes, I played 5 hands of a PLO tournament this summer to try to avoid going to a wedding the next day. But I busted in 5 hands, and then I didn't go to the wedding either.
Get them a nice gift?
I give them a little bit of money, but come on.
That's a nice gift.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you supposed to do? Buy somebody like a wine set? I don't know.
Fair, I don't know.
I used to buy people a volcano for their wedding. If you want them to be together, you give them like a volcano vaporizer. But no, I don't do weed anymore, Jeff. No birds, no weed. That's what I do now. I've evolved.
I'm going to send the main event specialist back to work.
Yeah.
Late in day 3. Great seeing you as always.
Bird and weed free.
Bird and weed free, by the way. Yes, I am bird and weed free. Thank you so much for asking. Jason Somerville, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Jeff, do you smoke weed?
Bird and weed free, baby. That's going to be my theme for 2024. Just bird and weed. Speaking of birds, I woke up this morning and Pip got her first little one.
No way.
I woke up to a mangled fucking bird carcass in my room.
No way. How does this shit happen?
I don't know, man. It was a small one. I feel like it was maybe it had just been like outside and she just found it already dead. I don't know.
They probably just run into the glass window.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, Jason looks like he's going to make the money in this one as well. So you love to see some heroes out there. We lost Jessie. He's going to be in the booth today. So be sure to tune into that Poker Go coverage. I believe he's in there with Jeff Platt. But
No. He's in there with Lon.
Oh, with Lon. Of
Let's
course
get it
he's
poppin'.
with Lon. Why
Love
wouldn't he
to
be
hear
with
it.
Lon? Love to hear Lon. Yeah, it's moving day, baby. It's day 4.
Time to get him on.
Man, can we get Landon at a feature table already? Jesus. Let's go.
Let's get landing at a
Go,
final
dude.
table.
So 40 big blinds once the bubble bursts. I mean,
Very, very workable stack.
very workable stack. It's going to probably be like 80% of average, 70% of average. Average is probably like 60 bigs at this point, give or take. He's in
Remaining
position
players 15, 24.
out of 10,000. Yep. So we're looking at like 8 starting stacks is average, give or take. Maybe a little bit more, 8.5.
What's 8 times 6? Anybody?
480.
480. So about 500 is maybe a little more. 520-ish is about average. Landon's rocking 320. Okay, we can work with
I
this.
honestly don't even know if that's average, to be honest with you.
No?
I'd probably say it's like 400. A little bit less.
Well, you'd
I don't know.
probably be wrong.
I don't know. It seemed like that everybody's so fucking short.
85% of the field left, man.
Yeah, whatever. Do your math. Still think it's not.
Or 85% of the field gone, rather. Those chips are dispersed. Therefore, average is. But you might be right. I'm not sure.
We should probably just watch Helmut's interview because, that's just the best thing in the world.
Do we have to?
There's nothing else I want to do other than watch Helmut's interview.
Sorry, 7 starting stacks is average. So about 420. So, yeah,
Okay.
Landon's what, 10 blinds shy? 12 blinds shy?
He's chilling. He's
So,
in a good spot.
About 50-ish, 55 big blinds is average.
He has fucking piles. He's chilling. He's in a very good spot right now.
He's in a good spot to get in Kings versus King Queen.
Ooh, but to
But
win
this
this
time,
one,
The
actually win.
redemption
yeah,
arc.
the redemption.
This is the redemption
Yeah,
arc.
that's true.
See, I've been around long enough to know how these stories go. Now, of course, there's the flame out story where it's just like he cashes, never gets a fucking hand. Next thing we know, it's dinner break and he's out. Right? Like that. That happens some percentage of the time, probably more often than we'd like. Then there's the arc where he grinds his little nubby fingers to the bone today and bags the same stack that he started with.
I mean, this happens.
Right? He goes all day and he's swinging and he's all in for his tournament life 3 different times. Once he gets called and he wins and then he loses a big bluff and he ends up putting another 320 in the bag coming back till tomorrow.
To keep it real with you, I think this is the best outcome. I think the just getting by the day, wait for the heat later, it's just the best outcome. Like you just fight today, you know what I mean?
You want to have some chips when you get the heat.
Huh?
You want to have some chips when you get the heat.
Yeah, but like maybe the heat's just like
yeah, I'm not sure. I know that at this point in when we made our deep run, I think it was like 2019. I think I came into day 4 with like 1.2 or something like that. I was one of the bigger stacks.
Yeah.
And I had gotten up as high as like 2.5 on the table of death. Ended up bagging like 1.6, but it was a roller coaster. I was all in aces versus queens for all of it. Like, it was a day. The final outcome is one of those smooth sailing days, right? Where you just get the table of dreams, where no one's trying to fight, and Landon's just going to redline them to death, and he's going to put 1.6 in the bag, come back tomorrow to like 50 bigs.
A beautiful day.
And just be chilling.
That is a beautiful day.
Just chilling.
They're hard to come by. But
they are hard to come by.
It's very beautiful when it happens.
I'm rooting for smooth sailing for the kid. I don't want any difficulties. I don't want it. But you know what?
To be quite honest with you,
as long as he puts chips in the bag.
I'm rooting for the text messages. I hope there's some monkeys at his table. I hope he's just fucking absolutely losing his mind and he bags 450 and then he runs it up tomorrow. You want to know why? Because nothing is better than those fucking text messages.
They are really good.
You don't understand our text chat. Between Mama Joe and Landon absolutely snapping when they play poker, it's one of the funniest things ever.
They lose their mind in different ways. I will say that what I find to be most charming about Landon in the midst of a main event run is that, and we kind of spoke on this a little bit yesterday, but when the bet came down of Becker versus Landon, anybody who's sharp understands that over this volume, it's a stone flip. Yeah. Like, doesn't even matter how big of a skill discrepancy there is between the two. It's still just going to relatively be a flip, right? But where the rubber meets the road and like all of the bets were taking place and the prices were being laid and all this other stuff was based on one of these two being a big time, big field player, and the other one being a robot that we just didn't think would fare well versus all the momos that are in the main event. It was centered around the main event, right? Like the premise of the bet was based on who would you rather have in the World Series of Poker main event, Sure. And truthfully, prior to actually seeing this one play out, I would have thought it was pretty close. Becker has his flaws in his game. Maybe he's not so studied in some areas, but he's really sharp about some of the personal aspects of the game. He's really going to be good at, weaving through the landmines and like kind of feeling his way through big spots versus other people who are definitely not studied. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of the first 4 or 5 days of the main event. And I would have thought, especially predicated on years past, Landon might struggle a little bit with that. He might just yeet the ace-4 into aces.
Well, yeah,
he might rifle it off with deuces,
Going into this, I thought he learned his lesson, man. Like, I thought, there was no shot at this, especially being down 50. Like, I thought, there is no more ace-4 suited, and I'm not going to yeet it. I'm not yeeting the deuces. Like, I felt like he's going to stay tamed.
He told me a hand where a good player opened under the gun won. He flatted 10s from the small blind, and a recreational squeezed the big. You want to know what he did with those 10s?
He ripped them shits up so quick.
He folded them.
Yep.
Just right in the muck.
Yep. I told you.
He didn't even think twice.
He's the new man.
Just put him right in the muck.
He's a new man. This is what happens when you bust day 1 3 times.
And I got to tell you, now, he's the big field player.
Wow.
And I don't think it was about the bet or the summer. I think it was the WPT. Because anybody who's played those Florida WPTs knows that they are just a microcosm of the main event.
Yeah.
They're 1,800 of the craziest retirees that you're ever going to find that can pony up $3,500 and generate a fucking $5 million prize pool. And him getting second in that event, I think, really shifted his lens of what live poker really is. Mm-hmm. And the main event has only amplified it times 10. He sent me a couple of hands yesterday, and he was just like talking about like, I'm not going to give them my chips type of thing. And I just responded with, welcome to live poker, big guy. You're really going to enjoy your stay here. Like, yes, they will just give it to you if you wait long enough. And in an event with 2-hour levels, long enough is just sitting there in your chair, just absorbing whatever free EV there is to absorb.
Yep.
Now, did I see some shit on the live stream yesterday? You're damn right I did. I saw some shit. Some people were doing some things that were a little crazy, in both directions. Maria Ho, big field player, main event player. Flatting ace king suited from under the gun one raise. That is a main event play.
That is a main event
There's
play.
only one world where you do that.
Main event.
And it is in the main fucking event. And you know what she did? She flopped the nut flush draw, got a guy to bluff twice with ace 10, and then she let into him when she missed, and he folded.
It was fucking amazing.
Incredible. That is a main event play right there.
Wait.
A main event play.
The other guy didn't even, he was bluffing. He had nothing, right?
Yeah, ace 10 high.
10, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, she prevented herself from being bluffed. He might have fired a third shell, and if you would have looked this man in the face, you would have known facing a third shell, you're fucked.
I love that.
So, like, here we are. Main event player. Guy, I can't remember his name, but he was, like, chip leading one of the feature tables, and he was just card racking. Like, kings, aces, ace king. But he's also the chip leader of the table, and they're nearing the bubble. So he's V-pipping every fucking hand. And it's wild because you could see them not believe him. But also, bro just has kings. It was the table with Durr. Yeah. Like, bro just has kings. Bro just has aces. So finally, this old man who hasn't put a chip in the pot all goddamn night and has bled himself down to like 25 or 30 bigs, opens 2 nines. And he has aces on the button. Because why the fuck wouldn't he? And he 3-bets them, and the guy is a non-believer and doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he can fold or call or shove, so he calls. And it comes 9 high. And I'm like, okay, old man, just don't check raise. Because everyone's going to know you have a set of 9s if you check raise.
Yep.
So he checks. It's like 9, 6, 3, 2 clubs. Faces the C-bet by black aces. What does he do?
Raise.
Check raises, but way too small. And I truly believe this. I absolutely think the guy in position, if he did not have the ace of clubs, would have just folded. I truly think this.
Maybe.
Because what other hand could my guy be check raising on 9, 6, 3, 2 clubs on the fucking bubble?
8, 7 of clubs.
Putting his stack at risk.
Hey, 8, 7 of clubs he probably has.
8, 7 of fucking clubs. Doesn't have 8, 7 of fucking anything. His goddamn top set always, literally always.
Live poker's so much fun, man. It's like
so he peels, turn king of clubs. What a dream! What a fucking dream for aces with the ace of clubs. You're never gonna face a big bet here. Of course, he faces a block bet.
Okay.
Calls, river, club. Check, jam, fold. Now my guy's down to like fucking 15 bigs. Like, I saw some shit.
Yeah, shit's probably.
But what I didn't see was anybody absolutely torching it. No one was torching it. The earlier coverage with D-Neg's table, there was a Brazilian who was playing really good fucking poker. And you want to know where that's punished the most?
On the bubble.
In the main event.
Yeah.
In the main event. He went for 3 with ace king in a 3-bet pot on an ace high board versus a man who is probably a plumber somewhere in Wichita.
And he was so dead.
And you want to know what he was shown?
Top set. Or
middle set.
Middle set.
Middle set. Where he actually, oh man, it was the most razor thin value bet you've ever seen. It was like ace 9, 3, 2 diamonds. It goes check, bet, call by 9s. Turn is like, the turn is a queen of diamonds. Okay. Completing the flush and ace queen. Check. He bets again. Good sizing. Like his sizings were super crisp. Nails the 40%er on the turn. Guy calls. And this is just where the disconnect between being an elite poker player and having main event experience comes into collision. The elite poker player knows we get a third street here a lot.
Yep.
Versus, weaker aces versus king queen with a diamond. There's just hands that we can get value from, right? the experienced main event player knows your butthole should be so puckered that the only thing we're considering betting on the river with ace king is as a bluff.
Yes, if we get called, we're fucked.
We do not want a call if we're putting chips in the middle. We're hoping for a fourth diamond so we can now bluff.
We're so dead.
River was like a stone brick, and the SPR is like pretty high still, like maybe 3-ish.
Okay.
9s checks. Ace king tanks forever. And then hits him with the half pot. And Kevin Martin's like, this is so thin, but so good. Like, you know, like he recognizes the same thing I do. Like, this is an elite level play. This man is studied in this line. He knows that his hand is worth 3 streets.
But
except in the main event, bro. Except in the main. It's only worth 1. It's only worth 1.
It's true.
You just got to go 75 on the flop, hope he has ace queen, calls, and then never put another fucking chip in.
Check.
So this guy makes the biggest crying call of his life, like cuts the chips out, cuts out the rest of his stack to see what's left, goes back, and then just gives it the, oh, please, God, let me the one where he has jack 10 of spades, call.
Never.
Ace king, confident, because he just got nip rolled. No, my friend, middle set of 9s. That was bottom of that bright guy's range. And that's the main event in a nutshell. So for everybody out there on moving day, be fucking careful. 6 of you are going home unhappy. Let's
7.
pray to God. Well, one of them's getting the main event seat next year.
Oh, yeah, sure. You're right.
It's only 6.
Very good point.
We'll save the bracelet winner for tomorrow. We've been going on long enough, I think, because I don't want to miss out on this one. There's some love in the air this main event season, Conrad.
Oh, yeah?
Our good friend Marchie.
What's going on, Marchie?
I think he's still in, actually.
I saw he was in last night, late last night.
I think he may still be in. Not positive.
So what happened? Talk to
So
me.
I don't want to celebrate his death if he hasn't died. But my man Marchie, he likes to get a little cup of joe, you know, little sandwich at the local sandwich shop. And it seems as though he had a great 30-minute convo with a woman named Elise, who is 10 in her 10s, has one arm, and is made of clear plastic with glasses. Real love connection.
What the fuck is that?
It's a misconnection. She's local and says she goes there a lot. I gave a cashier a $200 bounty if he delivers my note one time.
That is
Let's
amazing.
go, Marchie. So obviously this is the thread that just keeps on giving, because for whatever God unknown reason, he separated sentences by line. So it's meant to be 20s, by the way. I don't know how he thinks that's a 2 ever. In a million years, I don't know how this ever looks like a 2. But apparently she's in her 20s. She's blonde. And what he meant to say was she has tattoos on one arm.
I'm fucking dying.
There is a recent follow-up to this. I'm not sure, but they did actually find her.
No way.
Oh, yeah. There she is. She looks a little old, though. She does look a little old, all things considered.
That's so good.
I wouldn't say she's in her 10s. But yeah, so he was still in as of dinner break yesterday. A lot of fun follow-up here. Rich Ryan said, shouldn't be hard to spot a one-armed 10-year-old.
My God.
He replied and said, fuck my life. She's in her 20s, roughly 25. Blonde hair, tattoos on one arm. She has 2 arms. Wears clear plastic eyeglasses. I know better for next time, which is never.
That's so good. Shout out to Marchie.
Oh, man. It's just, the replies are just so good in this thread. I really hope he finds Elise. 159,000 people have now seen this post, and we're all out on the look. Hopefully, not only do I hope he finds her, but I hope she reads this thread. Because I'm very sure that this will seal the deal for him. Like, girls like humor, and this is, anybody who can be this self-deprecating on main, just big W, I think.
This is great. I love every moment of this.
David Capico says, I just need to know why only 2 words max per line. You had so much room.
It's such a
man.
good tweet, man. That's funny.
It's really good. I'm rooting for him. Hopefully Marchie's still in the field of heroes. I'm not really sure. They're going to get started back up here any minute now. Jessie, as I mentioned, is going to be on the mics. So be sure to tune in for that coverage. That's going to do it for us today. We're going to be sweating our boy
Come on,
Landon.
Let's go, Landon.
Down the stretch.
Put some chips in the bag.
Put some chips in the bag. Let's go, my G.
Need some chips in the bag. We need some chips in the
And
bag.
in the meantime, Becker busted the 2K twice. I don't know what else is on the agenda for the WSOP. I know there's a 5K online tonight, but that doesn't count. So maybe he'll be out firing in the streets. Let's root for more bust all around town for J-Bex. If you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. We enjoy the support. We appreciate you guys. As always, hit that bell so you get notifications when we go live. We'll be back again tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. as always, hopefully with some big day 4 news. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys all in the morning.
Peace.
Later, squad.